and easily put away with a forehand by Auger-Aliassime. He is 2 match points to get himself to the Paris final and to overtake Lorenzo Musetti on the race to Turin. I feel sorry for a certain Italian somewhere in Athens right now. Ball in the air. Goes down the tee. Backhand by Bublik. Punched away, and there we have it. Felix Auger-Aliassime continues this phenomenal run he's had since the US Open. A semi-final at Flushing Meadows, winning the title in Brussels, and now a place in the final of the Paris Masters. He is out overtaken. I think John's going to refresh the page on the live thing. Hopefully get that refresh soon so we can see that overtake. But yeah, what did you make of that match, Carlson?
Yeah, I didn't see the first set, but seemed like just a lot of holding serves and then momentum in the second set, though, just back and forth in between the two. So feels like it probably went the way that it deserved to go in the end. But yeah, fantastic. What a fantastic 6 months from Bublik. And we'll talk about Felix in a moment. But to just think about where Bublik was after Indian Wells and literally just playing challenger events because his ranking had gotten so low that he wasn't in a position to even qualify.
We could certainly look, as people keep pointing out, about that 3 days in Vegas after Indian Wells, where there was a situation because Bublik the year prior in February in 24 had won the title in Montpellier and got to the final in Dubai. He had a lot of points that fell off. He was at risk at one point of falling outside the world's top 100. Went to Vegas, blew off some steam, and then went to the Phoenix Challenger the next day, and then got to the final there. And then from that point, his season has just gone from strength to strength to strength. As you sort of pointed out, great runs on the clay, getting to the quarters at Roland Garros, winning the title in Halle, then picking up deciding to become the Casper Ruud of 2025, going on and winning Gstaad and Kitzbühel back to back, and then finishing off a good part of the season with the title in Hangzhou. For 4 titles under his belt, potentially he could pick up a 5th if he wishes to go to Metz next week. He is on the draw sheet for that, but quite understandably, if he wanted to sack it off and take some rest from the end of the season, that could be something he could look to do. But as you say, it's been a phenomenal season. And one probably other thing to note for Bublik, like I said at some point earlier on, there is still a chance he could finish the year top 10, and that could be something he could target. At the moment, he is 120 points behind Jack Draper, who is currently sitting 10th in the race ranking, which is important because if Bublik got to the final in the final in Metz next week, that would give him enough points to overtake Jack into 10th and to finish the year as a year-end top 10. So there is still something, if Bublik wishes to play for it, available. But the big thing is that he will no longer be a part of the wonderful 8 that will be going to Turin. That will either be Auger-Aliassime or Lorenzo Musetti.
Mm-hmm. I think he'll still be heading there as an alternate, even though Draper is 10th in the race since his season is over. He's obviously not going to be playing that at all. So Bublik technically is the 10th player actively playing still this season. So I think he's still on his way to Turin as an alternate, and that will be...
Well, it depends. If Medvedev wins the title in... if Medvedev wins the title in Metz next week, he would overtake Bublik to be that second alternate.
Yeah. I haven't seen if Medvedev is still playing that or not, but it would not. I think Medvedev is more likely to withdraw than Bublik.
Yeah, I agree. Well, to be honest, though, I would probably say I think it's more like that Bublik would withdraw. I don't know. I don't know why. I think they're both. I can see grounds for them both deciding to withdraw, but then I can see grounds for both of them deciding to play it.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I think I'm thinking more of the family dynamic. Like one of them has a wife and 2 kids, and
mhm.
uh, yeah, just has a little bit
Well,
more outside of time.
Bublik has some kids, doesn't he? At least has a wife, and I don't know if he's had children yet.
Uh, I don't know if he has kids. Don't.
Hmm.
Yeah, he doesn't that I know of. But yeah, I mean, Medvedev's always the one who, I mean, it seems like he tries to finish early if he can, and then always goes to Australia at the very last moment, before
Yeah,
the
he does,
Australian
doesn't he?
Open. So I think maybe a more extended off season is something that he values a little bit more than
Yeah.
most players. So
And maybe Medvedev could decide that he may want to play a warm-up tournament in Australia this year, so he may decide to take a couple of weeks off now to counteract it.
who knows? I mean, we're talking
But
about things that are
we'll
a month and a half away. So
yeah. I mean, we know Medvedev won't be going to, it isn't going to Turin now, so that's an extra week that he's got back. He could get another extra week back if he pulled out of Mets. Maybe choose to play a Brisbane or a Hong Kong at the beginning of next year.
yeah, just go hang out in the Maldives for a couple of months again.
We're all waiting for the Maldives picks, aren't we? That are going to start popping out from players.
Yep. Yeah, you can see on screen here, but we are going to be streaming the finals of this tournament tomorrow. Fergus and Zach will be here. Always a good time with those two. Felix Auger-Aliassime will play someone in the final. Do you have a read on who you think they're going to be facing?
You'd always have to say Yannick would be the favourite, but I think a lot of it will depend on if he is physically injured or if he's just playing possum with the way he's been moving around the courts after every point in the last few matches. He did play phenomenally well against Ben Shelton last night. I was so surprised that it was as straightforward and as easy as it ended up being against Ben. And I'm sure Ben's probably questioning how it ended up being so straightforward on his side as well. But it was, I would say, you'd favour Sinner. Like I said to John before you joined, I kind of would want Zverev to win just because I would want the match tomorrow to be competitive. And I think the only way it's going to be make sure that it would definitely be competitive if it is FAA versus Zverev and not, because I think if Sinner's in there and if Sinner's firing, it could be a 6-4, 6-3 and, sort of situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these two have played twice this year. They played in Vienna last week. And Sinner won that in 3 sets. They also met in the finals of the Australian Open, which was a fairly straightforward win for Jannik Sinner. So I feel, Sinner, provided that he is healthy, I think he's certainly the favorite to win the match. But yeah, you can see the head-to-head there. It's tighter than I think a lot of people would assume. Some of that is from before 2024 as well, more so in favor of Zverev at that point. So yeah, we'll see what happens. And provided that Sinner is healthy, and I was on stream yesterday for his match against Shelton, he looked just fine to me. So maybe a little bit lower energy, but hard to tell with Sinner anyway. He's not prone to emotional outbursts to begin with. So I think that I'll lean Sinner in that match. Then so that's for the opportunity to face Felix in the finals of Paris tomorrow.
Yeah, which we will be covering on Talking Tennis with Fergus and Zach. We'll be covering that final. It'll either be Felix Auger-Aliassime against either Zverev or Sinner, depending on how that goes. I believe it's starting in 35 minutes' time. They've got it's not before 5 o'clock local time, so that is in 35 minutes' time, so 4 o'clock UK time, and God knows what time you think it is in your area, Carlson, for that. On that one there. So just a quick question to wrap up. Who do you favour to qualify for Turin? Auger-Aliassime or Musetti?
I think right now definitely favor Felix to come through and get that final spot. Yeah, it's just a massive gap in points now. Not massive, but big enough that even if he doesn't win tomorrow, he's in a really good position if he just gets a win or 2 next week.
Yeah.
that it won't
So,
even matter if Musetti wins a title in Athens.
Yeah, I mean, working off the assumption that even if Musetti wins, picks up his first title of the year in Athens, if Felix loses tomorrow but gets to the semi-finals in Metz next week, he will be going to Turin, and it's as simple as that. You were looking at a situation where Musetti has to basically win Athens to stand a chance, and at the moment it is a slim chance, but it's a possibility. But also, if Felix wins tomorrow, then his conversation is completely academic. And Felix is going to Turin anyway because then he has enough points. And actually, bizarrely, he would shoot up to near enough 5 in the world if he wins tomorrow.
Which, they would rearrange the pots a little bit for the draw.
Would really
just over a week.
At the moment, Taylor Fritz could end up in the 7th pot. It's that tight between everybody, 5 to 8. Which could be just nuts to think about that could be the pot that Taylor ends up in, given that he's been number 4 for pretty much the majority of the year and locked into being the second pot.
I think it would be a pretty scary situation to see that Taylor Fritz is the 4th ranked player in your draw. Like, that would be a little bit terrifying, I feel like. So if that were to happen, it would be a bit strange. So, obviously a lot of tennis to come over the next week that could have a factor in this, and we'll be covering all of that here. Also be covering the WTA finals, which have begun a few moments ago.
They have. Let's get...
Yeah, Iga's up a break right now on Madison Keys. 3-love at the moment, so...
Okay, so you want to take up a break?
Yep. Very early on, but...
Okay, so we've got all that bit there. We will end the stream at this point here. Thanks for joining me, Carlson. And like I said, keep watching, everybody. We've got the finals tomorrow. The finals tomorrow in Paris could be huge in the race for Turin, and somebody could end up picking up a title, the biggest title of their career, if Felix does that there. Thanks everyone for joining, and goodbye.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.